There's more weight on the brain, Matthew, than there is on the body. There's more weight on the brain than there'll ever be on the body. My perception, my belief creates my habits. I eat a certain way. Once I get to a certain weight, I'm like, well, I might as well just keep eating. I might as well keep abusing. I might as well keep suffering. Again, it goes back to value. Someone who valued themselves would never say things like that, right? Can you graduate from that? I don't know. I believe you can. I believe we all have the ability to be better than where we are. It's waking up and making a decision. Again, down in Miami, speaking to a large group, I met a woman who said, during COVID, I helped myself lose 90 pounds. I bought a Peloton bike. I got on that thing, Nortec, whatever she did on a Nord track bike or whatever she used. And I said, you did this by yourself? She said, yes. Scared, but I did it. There's a certain willpower that's in each and every one of us. Certain people apply it in other areas in their lives. I'm about to meet a friend of mine right now who happens to be my client who's in town, and he's overweight and he knows it. He's a very successful businessman. He owned gyms at one point in his life, but it's his weight that is. So I say to him, the discipline that you apply into your work and into your family, you need to turn that discipline into yourself. You have the discipline in you, but you're choosing to direct it only one way, right? Yeah, a lot of times we go toward what feels easy. I'm going to keep steering my boat into the sun. Meanwhile, the lesson is in the storm. You better start steering towards something you don't like doing, because guess what? The actual place that you will land to is beyond that storm. Or you can just coast and just, the other way. But you're not going to graduate on this side. You're not going to be better until you start to challenge yourself to be better, not to be what comes easy, not to be what you've practiced 10, 20 years in doing and you're good at it. But what am I not good at? Hence the question again. Let me go into this storm and figure that out. That's how you grow.
Do you think also there's a requirement to try and rebuild or even start to build a relationship with yourself in the same way as you would do with another person? So to understand yourself, I know it sounds kind of very crazy, but
I get it. 100%. You know what's so funny? It's funny you asked that question, because we spend so much time telling other people what they should be doing. We have all the advice in the world. You want to make more money? Do this. You want to be an Instagram influencer? Do this. You want to have a body like this? Do this. But we don't do anything to develop ourselves, because we're always using that sunny coast example, right? The example of, I know this, so let me tell you what to do. But what about the things you don't know? Are you working on that? There's a responsibility in each of us to self-develop. There's a responsibility in each of us to get better than where we are. Not coast in the life of what you are and who you are, but it was one of the most amazing things that happened during the pandemic, where people got out of their routines forcefully, and they were forced to do things they didn't want to do or ignored how to do. Two things happened. People got closer, people divorced. There were higher percentages on both sides, because we're in the business of avoidance. We'll avoid like crazy with the idea, I'm taking care of the house, said the man. I'm paying the bills. I'm getting us the business. I'm taking care. I'm the reason. But when that stops and that well is twisted shut, you now have all the water going in an entirely different valve, a whole different flow. Now you have to pay attention to things you've been ignoring. And what came out of that was a lot of self-development. What came out of that was self-awareness. There are areas in me I have been unkind to my spirit, and because of that, maybe unkind to others. I put so much weight into things, I forgot how to be a person. I put so much, it's like someone who always texts but won't pick up a phone. I can't hear your tone and who you are because you're communicating only one way. We have to change that narrative. We have to change the way we communicate with ourselves in a lot of ways in other areas as we communicate with others.
Do you think that some of the social relationships you have for people, if it's not the right one, can actually prevent a lot of people getting to where they want to be? Like you're obviously probably able to be strong, and you had a reason to kind of break away from what was being told to you that wasn't serving you. But do you think for a lot of people that can actually be quite difficult, and the only way really to do anything about it is to actually search out a different support group or social relationships that are more likely to assist you to get where you are? I'll use an example like The Biggest Loser. Coming back to that again, there's quite, it sounds like there's an environment which is helpful to people when they're on the show. There's a support structure. There's whereas when you're on your own, you haven't got that. And so does that support structure make a big difference to people that want to get somewhere, would you say?
Something I'm writing, almost finished now, writing in my second book, which is the same title of my podcast, Work Out the Doubt. One of the categories I speak on is social health. Who you associate with can truly determine whether you build or you bury, whether you grow or you go slow down, right? I think those things are super important. Association should be elevation, right? So that said, yes, 100%. If all I did my entire life was surround myself with offense to my career and my choices with personal trainers, I think, act, speak, only personal training. But because in the core of me, I'm an entrepreneur, I put myself in very uncomfortable rooms for myself. I'm around tech guys and VCs and investors and hedge fund. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about until I do. But I purposely put myself in an environment to learn and to grow and to expand. And who I associate with, a friend of mine, we were talking about how tough living here in Los Angeles could be and how the vibe much different than most places. I was just in Miami, like I keep saying, and energetically it's like, hey, how you doing here? People tend to just I remember walking down the street, walking my dogs, and this lady literally made it a point not to get eye contact with me and literally just walk over here and just mind her own business. And I'm like, I'm not going to bite you. And so me being me, hi, how are you? Nice to see you today. Hope you have a good day. Just to say it's okay to be polite, right? Because people tend to want to just go. But I feel this, to answer your question, we attract who we are no matter where we are. If I'm insecure, I'm going to attract insecure people. If I'm grounded and I'm driven and I'm ambitious, I'm going to attract those people. Now, it takes some sifting. I'm not saying it's instant. I'm not saying it happens overnight. It took me about a year and a half to sort of find people that were genuine, that had some stock to them, didn't have an agenda, weren't looking for me to pull them where I was they were more taking than giving. It's very hard to find givers who, if you're a giver, it's so easy to find takers. So it has everything, Matthew, to do with it. That social health piece, who you rock with, if they're in a good place and you're learning how to get there, lean into that relationship, make that your circle,
It's something that probably isn't really recognized either. When you look at whether, again, business goal or weight loss goal, there's a number of things that you put on there, but searching out the right kind of support group is not one of those things that you would even probably put as a goal. But I suppose when you look at the weighting of it and I suppose the power of those right groups, it's probably something, after listening to you and also having my own personal experience, it's probably something that you've got to is worth working extremely hard at, even though you may not necessarily find that group straight off. Would you agree with that?
1000%. Guess what? You're not going to get it right the first time. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to find people that are disingenuous. You're going to find people that have agendas. You're going to go into a room thinking, I'm here to find a friend, and everyone I chat with is going to be just like me. You might meet someone who's disguised that way. Meanwhile, their agenda is just to see how you can help them or take from you or kind of figure out who you are, right? And bring nothing to the relationship. You have to be mindful of that. You have to make sure that you have enough stock foundation is solid enough not to continue to fall down with no grounding. Growing up for me, the way I grew up and having, some strong women in my life, uh, you could always fall back on mama. Mama was great grandma because she was the matriarch. No matter what was going on, you go say, Mama, what's this? Well, baby. And she would give you the most profound advice, but it gave you something solid and strong to hold on to. I always say, make sure you have someone in your life that's in your inner circle, 10 to 15 years older than you, that is grounded, that is experienced, that is ambitious, who's lived a life way before you. Make sure that they are part of your circle, your conciliary, your night round table, if you will. Because if you have that, no matter what kind of things wave, you have some sort of solid foundation or guidance, because we all need that in our lives.